Welcome, welcome everybody. Here I am in the Antietam battlefield and I'm standing in a place I've never stood before. And this is often because I didn't have the ability to stand here. This is not preserved land, at least for now. We have an opportunity here at Antietam to get more than 10 acres of land, and wait till you see where we're standing. But first, let me just show you that we're talking about all the way to this tree line over here, way beyond that tree line over there, and over toward where you might be able to spy a monument over here. And oh, let me show you where we're actually standing here. Not 70 steps away from here is the Dunker Church, okay? We're right behind the Dunker Church. We're in what would have been the West Woods, or right at the edge of it at the time of the Battle of Antietam. And we have this great opportunity to preserve land here. And I think you know a lot of what happened here, but I'm gonna wager that our next speaker is going to be able to tell you a little bit more than you knew about what happened here. So with no further ado, let's start walking, and let me bring on our good friend, co-founder of the American Battlefield Trust, longtime ranger at Harpers Ferry. I'm still not done yet. Longtime ranger, author, Save Historic Antietam Foundation, and so many other things. Thanks for coming, Dennis.
Hey, buddy. Good to see you.
Take it away, man.
Actually, the most important thing he had to say was American Battlefield Trust. That's what we're all about, American Battlefield Trust. And standing here on this land, it's all about ABT and you as the members who are going to help us preserve this piece of property. You know, it's almost 40 years now that we created the American Battlefield Trust. And this was our dream. Exactly what we're doing now is what you've made happen for us. So as a founder, I want to thank you. I can't thank you enough for all the success that the trust has had. Boy, you made our dreams come true. This particular piece of ground that we're on, really important. Now, we've already talked about it being by the Dunker Church. And you know there was a lot of action by the Dunker Church, a lot of heavy action, heavy fighting. But this is really not open. This is not open in 1862. This is all woods. Everything is woods. It's part of the Westwood behind the Dunker Church. And the Westwoods, of course, is one of the bloodiest sections of the battlefield on the morning of September the 17th. So what we're talking about right here on this ground by the Dunker Church is roughly from 9 o'clock in the morning until about 10 o'clock in the morning is when most of the action is going to occur here. And let me tell you something. I'm going to use two words that you hear over and over again. They usually don't mean anything because they're used so much, but here at Sharpsburg, there's no other place you can use these two words except right here in my mind. Turning point. Turning point. This is where the battle pivots. It pivots. And it's not so much a tactical pivot, it's a strategic pivot. And even more than a strategic pivot, it's a philosophical pivot. Because what happens here is that George McClellan changes his mind. He changes his mind. The commander of the Army of the Potomac, as a result of what happens here on this ground and the immediate grounds around us, up until this point, up until 9 o'clock in the morning, McClellan has been attack, 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 attack. And he's had great success, great success. In fact, the Union Army has actually captured Lee's left center. It has collapsed Lee's entire left. Lee has never had such a bad day on the battlefield as the first 3 hours of the morning of September the 17th. The Confederate Army is in chaos. Lee himself is wondering what is going on. The Union Army has been ferocious in its assaults. And then we come here, and suddenly the flip changes. The switch changes. And what happens is Confederates are coming up from Harpers Ferry. They've been at Harpers Ferry. Lee's been waiting for them to come and join his army. So they're coming from the south. They are arriving here on the field. General Lafayette McLaws, who had been fighting at Harpers Ferry, had done the bulk of the fighting at Harpers Ferry, had suffered the most casualties of his division at Harpers Ferry for the Confederate victory there. General Lafayette McLaws has been called here to face the emergency. And the emergency is that the Confederates are about to collapse again because here comes more Union reinforcements. The Union 2nd Corps is advancing. And the 1st Division arrives, Sedgwick's division, and just at that time, Lee has instructed McLaws to come forward and to strike. And McLaws does it right here, right where we are. General McLaws' command will come in, hit the flank of the Union force, and demolish it. And the Yankees will go reeling from the field, reeling backwards from the field in complete disarray and disorder. And as a result, McClellan sees this. McClellan sees this from his headquarters across the Antietam Creek. It's a disaster. Up until that point, George McClellan believed he outnumbered Robert E. Lee on the field. Hence, offense, attack, assault, go. The turning point is this. McClellan sees his veteran troops retiring from the field in chaos and disorder, and he says, "Oh my God, Lee outnumbers me." No longer does George McClellan feel on the offensive. From this point forth, that day from 10 o'clock in the morning on, as a result of what happens here on the ground you're buying, George McClellan's attitude, mind, changes from attack to defense, and the whole battle changes.
Great, Dennis. One of the things I like hanging out with Dennis for a number of reasons, but one of the reasons is you always get a new, fresh perspective here. And we're just going to flash up the map, and you might be able to see, you might know that Hood's division came across here while they're attacking the cornfield. You might know about McLaws. You might not even know about the later attacks with South Carolina and especially North Carolina and Arkansas troops. We'll flash up the map. We'll also flash up a map to show you how active you have been in this area. Behind the camera, you have preserved 10 acres over there. Across the road there, 3 acres plus 5 acres plus 140 acres plus 15 more acres. And this you see is like a hole in the donut with Park Service land over there, Trust Preserve land over there, and hopefully it'll all become part of the National Park Service, and this neglected to many part of the battlefield can be properly interpreted and accessed. Now, a little bit more to say about here because there's so much going on, but I do want to wrap it up. After the battle, of course, this is going to be a charnel house with dead and wounded all over the place. Not just the horses and men you see on the other side, but in this area too. In fact, the Elliott burial map will show New York and other dead on this tract over here, okay? Afterward, veterans would come back. They'd start to study the battle. Historians would write things and whatnot. And of course, the federal government would get involved, create the Antietam National Battlefield Park. They'll start to establish avenues, one of which borders this property over here. And then veterans have a place to, of course, put their monuments. You can see in New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland monuments actually over there, okay? Then, of course, the Antietam plan didn't allow them to purchase giant tracts of land or huge tracts of land. They're going to get small ones and avenues, so the Dunker Church remained in private hands. A 1921 windstorm would blow the thing down. It will become a service station. It will become a Poffenberger's lunchroom for a while. You're going to have a house on here, this tract over here, a smaller house right behind me here. And over the years, eventually, the Dunker Church will be acquired by the Park Service. They're going to rebuild the building using partly materials from the original church before it was blown down. They're going to continue to improve the area, erect more signage and whatnot, but this one remains. Even as the American Battlefield Trust, the Save Historic Antietam Foundation have been piecing together the puzzles, this remains the hole in the donut right here. So we really hope you can get involved. I want to give Dennis the chance if he has anything to add at this point. Is he going to shake his head? No, he's coming over here. What does Dennis have in 40 seconds or less?
40 seconds or less.
That's plenty.
I would like to say that the owners of this property I have known for decades. They've known my family for decades, and they are the preservers of this property for us today to be able to purchase it. And so to that family, I say thank you. We express gratitude. The matron of the family just recently passed away. Her spirit is with us today, and she is smiling at the outcome. But you need to make it happen so she will smile even more.
Indeed. Thanks so much, Dennis. Thank you for watching. In a perfect world, we will be excellent stewards of this land, and we will turn it over to the National Park Service should the federal government be able to accept it from us. And in the meantime, we have to act now so that we can preserve this land. So thanks to Andy behind the camera. Thanks to Dennis Fry. Thanks to the family who has generously approached us about purchasing this land. And thanks for all you do for battlefield preservation and education.
Hello, this is Trace Atkins. To stay up to date on all the latest and coolest videos, please subscribe to the Trust YouTube channel. Preserve, educate, inspire.